going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel today. If you're new here, my name is Bill. If not, thanks for checking in with me today. I did get my tires and mounted on the Bassett wheels yesterday, and I forgot to take the GoPro over there. And then today after work, a couple of friends of mine, Matt, Josh, and Cody, showed up, and we went over to the pole barn and we got the knuckles put together for the base model brakes. And actually they look super nice. ARP studs, new SKF hub, SKF bearing. Rick at Reaction Powder in Saginaw did these knuckles for me, and they came out super smooth with this. I think he called it blackjack. It looks so good. The only thing I messed up on was I didn't get the bearing retainer plate coated, but oh well. I mean, by the time I put the rotor over it, you ain't gonna see it anyway. But speaking of which, we did get one side fitted just so I can see how everything sat, make sure that it was going to be right before I bothered going after the other side. And I mean, they came out super close. They do rub just a tiny bit, so I am going to have to go after the caliper a little bit where it's knocking some of the paint off, and you can see where it rubbed the wheel. It isn't gouged, it's just it grabbed the color a little bit, so I could probably polish that back out. But we got the Brembo rotor. We got those Power Stop carbon ceramic pads in, base model brakes with the knuckle, ARP studs and everything. And I went ahead and put my drive shaft shop level 3 driver side shaft in. I broke one last year while we were at the track, and I had the level 3 passenger side with me. So when I broke that one, I stuffed the drive shaft level 3 in the passenger side, and the driver side never broke or did anything, so I just kind of left it sit. Well, today, while I had the spindle and everything off, I pulled the axle, we shoved the new one in, and then got everything back together just to make sure that it fit right. And man, am I really happy with how that came out. That is so close. But I do have a 3mm spacer on it right now. That definitely should be enough room for some sidewall flex. The wheel does fit great with the new hub assemblies and everything. And like I said, I just got these aluminum 3mm spacers that I'm using. So these wheels were supposed to be heavier. I never actually did weigh them, and it's kind of my fault because I've been on a habit of weighing just about every change I've made with the car. And I got the wheels midweek, and I've had the tires for quite a while, and for some reason I never thought about weighing them, and I put a post up on Facebook saying that I needed to get valve stems. Well, a coworker messaged me and said, hey, I'm gonna be at the farm tomorrow. If you want to stop out, I might have some. So we went out there. Luckily enough, he had the right stems. He had these shorties that we put in, or these shorties that we put in, because the Bassett has the 5/8 hole versus the standard size where it's like 0.45, so it's just shy of a 1/2 inch. So we got the valve stems in, got the tires mounted. Really happy with how they looked huge sitting on the tire machine inside the wheel. I mean, they are only 24.5 inches tall, but on that 13-inch wheel, they look meaty as all hell. We're gonna bite a 1/2 inch more of the track on either side because these are 9 inches wide, where the tires we ran before were only 8.5 inches wide. They are the same diameter, they're 24.5. These are obviously a 13-inch wheel. I'm hoping this thing goes some 1.5s in the 60 foots. I was talking about weighing stuff and I kind of got sidetracked here. Altogether, we've dropped almost 275 pounds from where it was before to now. So we're making huge changes. I am gonna run with the battery that I have for now. I've been a fiend for weighing all the parts that I've been moving around for the car, and for some reason it slipped my mind to not weigh these wheels, because I made the post on Facebook and a coworker reached out. I clocked out of work and I just ran over to his place and we took care of that. And then so I didn't think of weighing the tire by itself or the wheel by itself before I went, but I did weigh it once it was done, and the wheel and tire weighed 29.2 pounds, where the other wheels I think were 31.5. So we're losing 2.3 pounds on either side just in the wheels and tires. Summit said the shipping weight on the Bassett wheels was 15 pounds, and it's kind of crazy. So the weight difference must be in whatever Hoosier does when they set up their tire versus an M&H, because like I said, supposedly these wheels are supposed to be about 2 to 3 pounds heavier than the other wheels I got, and we got another 1/2 inch wider tire. So it's pretty nuts, to be honest with you. I didn't expect it to be that much lighter. I was expecting to probably put another pound or 2 back on each side, but to go 2.3 the other way gives me 4.6 pounds total rotating weight just in wheels and tires, and that also isn't taking into consideration the difference of the rotors. So I mean, it's definitely a noticeable difference picking these up. I'm gonna guess at least 1.5 pounds between the two. So now we're talking almost 4 pounds on each side. So there's another 8 pounds coming out of the car. So that'll definitely put us under the 2,100 pound goal that we had originally. before the roll cage, I calculated will probably be about 2105 once I cut the door bars and everything out. So to drop another 8 pounds off the front end just in the wheels and tires is huge, and it's rotating weight, which is even bigger because that's going to mean that the car can accelerate faster. We're not trying to get as much weight spinning off the line when we get rolling, so that'll definitely help the car shine everywhere. So overall weight, rotational weight, this is huge. We're definitely moving in the right direction. Still waiting on my timing belt, unfortunately, so the cams aren't in, but as soon as I get that timing belt, I'll get the camshafts in. We'll get the Modern Performance gears on, kind of get them close to dial, as close as I can. I'll probably just use the tool that I got. We'll get those guys in, get the cam or the valve cover set on for now, and then I'm going to get the car to my buddy Mark, and he's going to give me a hand with degreeing the cams. So we'll get that thing squared away, and then once we get that, I mean, it's just going to be a matter of me still trying to find material for my roll cage. We're pretty much going to be ready for either the dyno or the track, depending on when the cage gets done, because we can go to the dyno and not worry about a cage. I guess I could just bolt the stock seat in it for now, and we'll take it to the dyno and then get everything figured out if we're ready to go before I can put my hands on the bars to get the roll cage done. So at least we can make progress with the car, but ultimately I'm hoping that it'll be running by next weekend, as long as I get my belt. I mean, I can't help that, you know, the shipping of parts, everything's getting pushed back because of the coronavirus, and it's slowing everything down, and it's a big mess. So as soon as we get parts, we can start moving forward with the engine on this one. I did grab another relay, which I probably threw in the car. Yeah, I don't know where it's at right now. I did get a relay for the fuel pump. I got to get that guy in here, so at least we can get that side of it done. Tighten up all my fuel line fittings here, and then I can put a half a gallon in it and see if we can make pressure. Another thing, the boost control issue that I think I had last year, for some reason I must have put a bunch of preload in my AGP wastegate, because when I took it off this car, or when I took it off of the other turbo setup and put it on this one, so I had about a half an inch of rod that I preloaded that wastegate from where it actually should have been. So I mean, there was just a ton of preload, and that would explain why the thing came on so hard and then kind of fell right off, because the boost box was probably going nuts, like, oh man, I seen 30, open the solenoid, and it's just dumping everything it can, and then if it closes it, it was coming back, so it was just dumping the solenoid wide open just to bleed that boost off to get it where I was telling it I wanted it to be. And I think it was reading learning pressure up to like 26 pounds almost, so that would definitely make sense of why I had that boost control issue. I'm hoping we go to the dyno now, it'll come in a little bit softer, and then it'll actually be able to control boost and hold it all the way out. If it don't, then what I'll do is we'll see what we can do for a tune, I guess, get it as close as we can with what's in the car. I'll bring it home, I'll put a 3-port in it, we'll put it on the road, and we'll get some tuning in that way. But I do got to get 200 miles in the turbo before I take this one to the dyno. Matt had requested that we actually break this one in just because the wheels are so much bigger than what we were used to before. You know, on the old setup, I just put it through a couple heat cycles. I think I put maybe 5 or 6 miles on it on the road. Like I said, Matt wants me to put some miles on this one, so I'm gonna have to figure that out, I guess. I could probably do, there's a 6-mile lap that I could do pretty easily without going too far away from here and staying on, and be able to stay on a paved road. So what I might end up doing is probably just come home, and then I'll plan on driving it for about an hour a day, maybe around. So I'm gonna wrap this one up today, guys. I did get one side in. It is later tonight. I worked until 7. Some friends come over and we got dinner quick, and then we ended up just bullshit, kind of hanging out, because it has been a while since I've seen these guys with all the shutdowns. And so yeah, I'm gonna get this one wrapped up today, guys. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll come out tomorrow and I'll do the other side on this one, because I still have the radial with the 16s on it and the stock brakes and everything. So I'll get the other side swapped over, we'll get the calipers hooked up, we'll get these guys bled out, and then I will get the gear set pulled out of the transmission, because on Sunday we're going down to Detroit. I'm picking up an engine that's supposed to have had a rod knock or a bearing knock or some kind of knock, I guess. And they heard the knock, they shut it down, but I needed a good cylinder head for this engine with some decent camshafts. So a buddy of mine down in Detroit, AJ, had messaged me and said, hey, I got a motor, it's got a knock in it, come pick it up for X dollar amount and it's yours. So I'm gonna go pick that guy up. So we'll probably take you guys on a trip Sunday, and then we're gonna go to my buddy Mark's, and we're gonna do the snap ring in this P-Works gear set. We're gonna pull the gear set out of this car, and I'm gonna change the first second synchro liners And then I think this one has a works snap ring in it already. And then I'm going to take the gear set out of this transmission, which is for this car, and then we'll take that down, we'll go through it, and I'll get that snap ring swapped over on that guy too. Make sure that all the gear sets are ready. Start working on this car. I did order the timing set. I forgot to order the bearings. Obviously, we already got the hubs and everything that are coming off this car. So, I mean, I got one sitting over here. It's already got ARP studs in it. So, I'm going to try and get that guy pressed out. We'll get the bearing, the outer race off from the hub. Get that guy swapped over to some new bearings. And we'll get them pressed in these spindles here. Get the suspension and brakes on this car. I'm just going to take the calipers off of this one for now. Swap those guys over later when later on when I got time and I'm not super worried about it. I'll get some red calipers and we'll get those swapped over. That way it looks kind of stock. Because what we are going to do with the outside of this one is we're going to leave the red rear calipers, red tail lights. It should have a red third brake light, I think, in the trunk. Let me check. Let me see. Yep, it does. So it's got that red third brake light. And we're not going to do any tinting or anything like that with any of the red stuff. So we're going to use red accents on the outside of the car. The rear control arms, they're also red, I believe. Calipers, yep, the arms are red too. So we're going to use red as a nice accent color with this one against the blue and the stripes and the carbon. So like I said, we'll try and get the suspension done on this car, get the brakes in, get the brakes bled. I'm going to swap over a booster because this one is rusty. I have the non-ABS master over there. Also getting a staging brake for the white car for my buddy Luke, the silver car that we parted out a couple years ago. That I'm actually using the transmission and everything out of that car is in this one right now. That engine's from it. We sold a bunch of other parts. Actually, the BC coilovers that are in this one were also from Luke's car. So he's got some staging brake parts that I'm going to go down and I'm going to buy. And that is pretty much going to go in line between the master and the caliper. So I'll still have base brakes, but the staging brake will work from the rear calipers. And I'll get all the parking brake stuff pulled out of the car. So we'll see what the weight difference is there as well. I have no idea what to expect, but I completely forgot about that weight in the car. I did weigh the car without the bumper, and I did put that in the post or in the description of the video when I went in. So that 2105 was without the bumper. So what we change with the wheels and the rotors and the rear parking brakes coming out might actually offset the weight of the bumper. So we're probably still going to be really close to that 2,100 pound mark. So I'm really happy with that. That's right where I wanted to be. We're getting all these parts in the car. I mean, we're definitely moving forward. We're just waiting on parts. I mean, it's a parts game at this point. When I get parts in here, we're out here trying to get something done. So as soon as I get what I need, we can start making more progress and see where we can get this guy to go. So like I said, guys, it's getting pretty late. I'm gonna go ahead and get this one wrapped up. You guys have yourself a good one. Stay safe, stay clean, and we will see you at the track. Thanks.